Hey guys, if you haven't had your chance to check out my book, please check it out. Surviving Bethel. It's my story. It's a true story. I was at Bethel Boys Academy from 10 to 13 years old. Super crazy story. Really abusive. They cattle prods. They drown and resuscitate. Really abusive. The guy had just gotten out of prison, started the school up. You know, these kind of things were. It's well documented. So one of the guys, the main character that I write about, William Knott, things finally caught up with him, and he's doing life in prison for the things that he did to us. But I write about my experience and the things that I went through at such a young age, and that everybody else went through. It's my ultimate goal to bring change, to bring awareness to what goes on in these places that misuse religion and hide behind it to keep the government from regulating them. This particular school, they were Baptists, but the reality is they weren't. They were hiding behind the Baptist name to keep the government. Every time the government would show up at the gates to see how kids were doing, to say, no, this is separate state and church, you can't come in. And the abuses went on for so long, and the fact is there's schools that are still operating. That particular one's not. Time caught up with them, and you know, justice was served. But the fact is these schools are still around today. The second school I went to is Agape Boarding School in Stockton, Missouri. It's still open today. Now, I don't know if their practices are the same that they were back when I was there 15 years ago, but the fact is it's still open. No regulation. Government has no clue. And so these kids get out of there and they struggle. You know, I went through severe abuse and psychological, physical. Like, you got to check out the book, Surviving Bethel. It's on Kindle. It's in paperback. You know, we're working on making a documentary. It's not about money. It's about stopping the abuses that take place in these schools, in these institutions, without any regulation. Nobody knows. They monitor your phone calls at these schools. They read every letter that goes out, every letter that comes in. You can't. These kids are unprotected. Fact is we got to do something. So check out my book. If you like it, great. If you don't, you know, I'm sorry. But ultimately, the goal is to bring some change. I'm working on contacting legislators to try and figure this out. You know, I have constitutional rights too. You know, they have their constitutional rights of separation of state and church, but I have the constitutional right to not be abused. I have civil rights as a human being to not be beaten, to not be drowned, and have pit bulls sicked on me. And so check out the book. I hope you like it, and tell your friends. Give them your copy so they don't got to pay for it. It's not about that. It's about awareness. You know, let's start a conversation as a nation. You know, our kids are our future. You know, I've struggled really hard as an adult to put my life together, and I've made it to where I can function now. And but I still have my bad days. So, but these kids that get out of these schools, they're your drug addicts on the street. They're your homeless. They're your prison populations. Let's take care of our children so they're not out there using drugs, so they're not out there homeless, so they're not out there in prison. Let's start a conversation. So check out the book, Surviving Bethel. It's a true story. Torture and abuse, man. So please check it out. Thank you, guys.